Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we've only got a quick video. R34 GKTECH Skyline Radiator cooling panel, air diversion panel. Basically it's from GKTECH. I've just started using their stuff and I really like it. So that's basically the item there. Now this apparently, for track purposes, we'll go through the stats now. So basically sits between your front bumper and the radiator support, and not only makes your engine bay look cleaner, but also serves the purpose as an air division panel that helps direct air into the radiator as opposed to around it. So dropping coolant temperatures on track. Won't fit the RTO bumper, which is I guess not alarming, but it just makes me obviously wonder, moving forward when the car gets fixed, will it fit the S-tune front? I don't know. I'm going to probably say probably not, but it does make the engine bay look a little bit cleaner. So first of all, it's real simple, guys. There's two 12mm bolts here that you've got to remove, and basically in a nutshell, it's pretty much, look, for you guys this will be a pretty straightforward process, and I'm assuming on manuals it would probably be very quick and easy to do. With my car though, it is automatic, so there's a couple of things that you've got to, well, one more thing that you have to do that you don't on a manual. So basically just remove those two 12mm bolts, and don't obviously do what I do here, which is drop one of them into the engine bay or just something outside of the engine bay. Thankfully for me, it wasn't a disaster and it just ended up dropping out the bottom of the car. So celebrate the little wins, I guess. But moving forward, basically this is the item here. Now GKTECH stuff, it looks really good. Like basically I didn't expect it to be this good quality, but it really is, and straight off the bat you can tell it's going to make a huge difference to when you open up the engine bay. Now there's a 10mm bolt there, which I'm assuming, well, I know wouldn't be there for the manual version, because that's actually part of the bracket that holds in your automatic transmission cooler at the front there. So I know a lot of people that have got a dual setup in which they put the automatic transmission cooler plus an oil cooler there. But generally speaking, this will be pretty much a straight, you take that off, you put the two bolts in, and away you go type deal. So it's not overly too difficult. Now I've obviously have to remove this bolt here, and I was just checking to see how far in it went, or if there was going to be any problems, or if that nut was going to, or the bolt, the actual thread was going to stick out at all, and obviously what I can do to obviously make sure I don't get caught out with that. So basically what I did was I removed the 10mm bolt, and I was able to push the bracket back a little bit. Now I've had a good look around there. This isn't going to affect in the long run. Moving forward, what I will do is when the car goes to get fixed and resprayed, is I will drill a hole so that can fit through, or get the panel shop to fill a hole so that can fit through. So now that that's done and we've moved that out of the way, basically that just pops on there. Now it's important, it's not that it doesn't sit flush, it sits perfectly, but you have to obviously mount it so everything lines up perfectly, because you've got your bonnet release latch there. So you've got to make sure that everything lines up perfectly and that you are able to obviously open and close the bonnet. This can be a bit tedious, or this was a little bit tedious for me, because I was trying to push the panel, I guess the radiator mounting brackets back so I could put those bolts in. But just looking at it from there, it looks pretty good, and there's no denying with that. So basically from here what I did was I hand tightened these, and then I used a smaller electric screwdriver with a 10mm socket adapter on there, just to basically get it on there so it's nice and snug. By the way, I recommend everyone invest in one of these. It's a great little tool and it's good for little small jobs like this. It's really useful. So I used one of those on an electric screwdriver, and basically from there I did them just tight enough. You don't want to over tighten these, that's why I didn't use the impact driver obviously, but you just want to tighten them up and to the point where they're snug, very snug, which is why I use this. Obviously, you're meant to torque these down to specs, around 27 foot-pounds. But apart from that, that's overly it, guys. Honestly, there's not much to this at all, but I think you guys can tell straight from looking at it that it looks really good, and obviously adds a bit more, I guess, cleanliness to the engine bay. Now, whether or not these work on the track, I wouldn't know. I'm not sure yet. Obviously, GKTECH have done their research, and it seems to work. Obviously, the bonnet latch is there working. Now, we've probably got one final test, which is to close the bonnet, which we'll do shortly anyway. But what I'm saying here is that it doesn't matter what you do on your car. Either way, either the smallest jobs, your hands are still going to be dirty. They're still going to be covered with grease. I don't care what you do on your car. Your hands are always going to be dirty, irrespective of how small the job is. This was literally removing 2 bolts and putting something on them, screwing those bolts back in, and your hands still get dirty. So there's no way around it. But this is a good, easy, cheap mod for anyone who wants to obviously start modifying their car and is not sure how to do it and is not too confident on tools. It's not much to do at all. And you know what, for what you get out of it, obviously there's no performance gains, but the look of it is pretty good. And in my personal opinion, I think basically it adds, I guess, a little bit of something to the engine bay. So again, nothing too out of control here. We're just going to check the bonnet now shuts and make sure that it sits in there correctly, which is why I'm just being real gentle with it. And then obviously pushing it down, everything clips in, and I've opened the bonnet afterwards and everything clips in well there as well. So honestly, it's a real simple, easy mod to do. And the benefits you get from it, well, look, this is the before, and you can see, look, it kind of looks a bit messy there. Now that I've had it on there for a couple of days now, it looks a bit messy, but that's how they came. Now after, obviously it looks a little bit more special. If you didn't like the GKTECH logo there, I guess you could put a sticker there or sand it down and get it powder coated again. It's up to you. But thanks for tuning in, guys. Thanks for liking, subscribing, and everyone who watches. I appreciate it, and I'll catch you next time.